Hey crew, taking a look at Friday, April the 3rd's workout. We got a fun one today. We're looking at 100 dumbbell clean and jerks for time, or 100 odd object ground to overheads for time. The big kicker and the big part of this workout is every minute, including the first minute, we're going to stop what we're doing and do 5 burpees. So we're just working towards 100 of that movement, odd object, ground to overhead, or that dumbbell, clean and jerk, and I'll go over that right away here. And we're going to stop and do 5 burpees every time the clock hits a new minute, or every minute on the minute, 5 burpees. Something that can drastically change the time frame of this workout is our burpee variation, right? If we're looking at that burpee, few options. We can do that full chest to ground burpee, and we can step our feet back or hop our feet back and forward, right? But 5 of those, that's going to take some time, and we're not going to get a lot of time in that minute to actually work towards our 100 of the ground to overhead movements. So to make that a little bit easier, we could go no chest to ground burpee, and again we can step back or hop back, and then if we had a couch or something, we can do those burpees to an elevated surface instead of to the ground, right? So that's going to drastically change that workout time frame on how long our burpees take, right? And then of course we could lower that number. If we want to try chest to ground burpees, maybe we do 3 chest to ground burpees every minute on the minute, or 4 chest to ground burpees every minute on the minute. The thing is, I'm trying this out for the first time today, so I don't have a great idea of how long it's going to take. One thought that crossed my mind was if I'm still going at the 15-minute mark, to lower that number of burpees there, maybe at the 12-minute mark or something like that. But let's take a look at that dumbbell movement and odd object. So we'll be going through this in the next video in the warm-up. We're doing it for the warm-up, but I got that odd object, taking it to the ground with my back straight, right? Don't get tired, don't get lazy, and let that back ground. Keeping that back straight, bringing it up and overhead. Back down. When we go back down, a lot of times it's easy to round that back. Keep that back straight, up to overhead. So we would be looking at 100 of that odd object, ground to overhead. Or the dumbbell movement, we're going to take it to our shoulder and then overhead. So that dumbbell, right, back straight, just like I had with my odd object, up to the shoulder, pressing overhead. Switch hands, up to the shoulder, pressing overhead. Keeping that back straight as I go down. And we can use our legs to pop it up overhead. And when it's coming up from the ground, we want to make sure that we're using our hips to pop that dumbbell up instead of using that arm to pull that dumbbell up. Common thing to see, especially when I'm taking the dumbbell to the ground, is a twist or a rounded back, all right? We don't have to take that dumbbell all the way to the ground, especially if we have a history of back problems, right? Just take that dumbbell down to the knees or just below the knees, shoulder, overhead. Switch. The knees, just below the knees, shoulder, overhead. So there's our 2 movements for today, picking either a backpack or a dumbbell, and then find your version of the burpee, and we'll have some fun with it. The next video is going to be the warm-up, and the one after that will be the workout, and we'll get into it. Have some fun. Let us know if you got any questions.